What up, everybody? You're now tuned into Candid Conversations. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley. Of course, this is a new segment. I'm still working on that title, so we'll see how things fit. But the pretty much the concept of this is we're talking about different topics, and this goes outside the realm of sports, even though sports may be included in it. But this is just life in general and different things. Whether it's, I'm going to have music, artists on, we're going to talk about music. I'm going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about pop culture. We're going to talk about religion. We're going to talk about any and everything that affects you and me as a person. We're pretty much going to talk about it here. And I'm going to have people on who want to have those conversations. And we're just going to get it going, man. But got a good guest today, man. Introduce yourself to the people, sir.
My name is Shawn Taylor. I'm a personal trainer, owner of Tailor Made Training for You. I'm up here in my personal training studio. Brandon, been knowing him for some years. His mom is one of my best friends on the planet. And hey, man, I'm humbled to be here, man. I'm humbled to be here.
We're gonna talk. Yeah, man, I appreciate you for coming on with me. I'm tagging you in the show now, so we'll have you. Let's see. So today's topic, as you can see, we're talking about masculinity. We're talking about how we're pretty much in a masculinity crisis and how it's at an all-time low. This is something that's been ailing us for decades. And I always say, when you want to talk about as a man, any issue that you have with women and how women may be today, the root cause of it, I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10, you could point your finger back to us as men as why things are the way that they are. Men, like me and him were just talking off camera, say men are first for a reason. It's men protect the women, women protect the children. It's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. And that's currently how it is now. Even with, you have those who say they're strong and independent, don't need no man, things like that. But it was men who built this world in order for you to be able to be on your own without a physical man in the house. Right. So men have been protectors and will continue to be protectors. But as the years have went by, we've lost direction.
Right. Amen on that. You are definitely right on that. And to reiterate on what Brandon was speaking on, we was speaking on it earlier. We was getting so deep until we forgot to go live. So I'm going to repeat what me and Brandon was we were actually having a conversation about previously. And I was telling Brandon pretty much that, I pretty much learned my place as a man from a woman who was a single mother raising 2 boys. Whatever the resources she had and the tools she had at the time, she did the best she could at the time. And I think she did a darn good job. But my mom always taught me this. And Brandon touched on it. He spoke on it, that God made you first for a reason. And us men, we have forgotten our place. We have allowed society just pretty much to strip it away from us. We've allowed women to strip that away from us. And here's the thing I've seen, because I talk on both sides. I've heard the opinions of women and what they think and what they say and how they feel. And I've heard what men think and say and how they feel. So me and Brandon were talking about, the biggest breakdown between men and women, it's the most important thing that you can have that connect you both, is communication. Again, we communicate to respond opposed to communicating to understand and to comprehend, so we can have those right conversations. That's what's going to bring back the love again between the men and the women. And here's the thing. There's a difference. there's such a difference between relationships and partnerships, and that's something off topic we can get into at another time. But when the communication lines have broken, and then one person feels as if, I don't have to listen to you, this is the way it should be. And then the other person's like, well, you know what, I don't want to talk to you, and there's such a huge disconnect. We need to get back to who the alpha male truly is. My mother used to say all the time that alpha male is becoming extinct. Men has relinquished their power. She used to always tell me, baby, never relinquish your power, not to society, not to the woman, not to nobody. Know your place. and she used to say, a real woman will respect that alpha male. A real woman will respect a man's masculinity. But there's a difference, people, between beta males and alpha males. Beta males are passive aggressive, alpha males take charge. That's the distinct difference between those two. Okay. And there's certain things you can do with a beta male that you can't do with an alpha male because they're going to refuse it. They're going to they're going to respect you, but they're going to want their respect in return. And that masculinity thing with us men, that's our fault at the end of the day. We have given up way too much, and then we're not speaking up. Slowly, lately, men are starting to speak up now about
A little bit,
what's
a little bit.
just a little bit, B, just
Hmm.
about what's actually going on. But if it's not reciprocated, we're never going to move forward. You know, I'm I'm really big on, I never listen to society. I'm not listening to outsiders. I'm always going to go back to that book and what that man up there tells me who I am in this world. And when my mother broke down and told me that God made man first for a reason, he never did nothing. He never does anything without purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Society, us as people, we have changed the whole narrative. And we wonder why things are going backwards or sideways in a sense. It's if the big man upstairs wanted, golly, boy, this it's touchy.
What's up,
It's so
Ness?
it's so
Appreciate you for tuning in.
it's such a touchy topic, but B, I'm on that transparency journey. You either like it, love it, or hate it. It's your choice.
Yeah.
But if 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 God made it, if his purpose was for the woman to be made first, then the dynamics will be different. We are going against the grain and we are messing it up. And that's why things are all in disarray right now. Men have forgotten to be men. They don't speak up no more. They just let people just do and say and run over them any type of way that they want. Now, me and Brandon spoke on this before. Now, I'm labeled. People call me a prick, or you too hard, you too rough, you mean, or whatever. It
Oh yeah, I get called
when
a misogynist.
Yeah, oh yeah. B. Here's the thing about truth. Truth always has static with it. But if I was, but listen. I'm agreeing with everything that she's saying, gassing her up on that BS, telling everything she want to hear. That's what beta males do. That's what beta males do. I don't want to touch on this brother right now because I'm not the type of dude to bash another brother. That's not me. But when ladies, I'm gonna tell you this.
What's up,
I'm gonna
Dwight?
tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this, ladies. When that dude is telling you everything you want to hear, trust me, there's something wrong. That's a red flag right there.
Yep.
If he's never checking you, if he's never telling you no, if he's never telling you no, we ain't do it. He's never taking charge. He's just telling you everything you want to hear. Trust me, there's really something wrong with that. Now, if you want a leader is an alpha. But there's a lot of you, but you have to recognize his strength. And a real woman is going to recognize a man's strength and not question it.
Yeah.
She's going to recognize his strength and not even question it. And if a woman knows that BRBLE, she knows that a man is made for a purpose and he was made first for a reason. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
going to get into debates going back and forth with women on this topic or whatever, because I'm standing solidified in my position. And I know that BIBLE. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So we got to get back to regaining our power. And fellas got to learn to stop relinquishing that power. Tell me what you think about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you hit some nails on the head, man. It's gonna be a few people who see that, and it's gonna hit the hurt buttons. I'm gonna probably get some dislikes on YouTube,
Of
but it
course,
is. Hey, I
it
like to
is.
tell him it is what it is. I mean, he's not telling a lie. I mean, I tell especially young ladies, man, whether you're my family or not. It's a young lady, and God has blessed us to cross paths with each other for whatever reason, regardless of our relationship. I always keep it straight up with them, because I always tell them, I said, I don't want anything from you, so I'm always going to keep it 100 with you. I'm not afraid to hurt your feelings. I'm not afraid to tell you what is and what isn't. you know
Right.
um but one thing about it, women do recognize real masculine men. They recognize true masculinity. Like, they recognize, you say, alphas and betas. They recognize who those guys are. The one thing that isn't talked about enough, that we're starting to talk about it more as men get a voice, is that women can see who those men are, and they run away from those men, and they'll go to those passive aggressive men. They'll go to the men that are easily controlled. They'll go to men that do whatever that they say. And that right there, I mean, and people talk about bad boys, or the Pookies and the Ray Rays, and the
Right.
Walmart Tavius and Duracell and all of that. They talk about those guys, but one thing about those guys is that they take them on an emotional roller coaster. They hold them to no standards. They provide fun and excitement. It's like dealing with the cobra, and wondering when you're going to get bit, and you're constantly dodging. That's
Right.
excitement.
Right.
But a man who has a plan, a man who has built his kingdom, a man who has a castle, a man who's on his purpose, he's driven. It's himself, it's God, it's himself, and everything else falls up under that. When you have those things, he has a standard, and you have to meet that. You have to constantly compete, and they do not want to do that today. But not enough men are that way, so it's
Right.
easy to go. I'm gonna go to my beta male orbiters, the 10 guys that's twirling around me. I'll just pull one out the sky when you don't want to do what I tell you to do. That's how it is today.
That is so true. And I'm sitting up here laughing, and it's not a laugh to it's not a laugh to pretty much down a woman for doing that or whatever. But on the flip side, us alpha male, we have to recognize that woman's strength too, because you got alpha females out there too as well.
Yes, you do.
They're just as strong. But here's the thing with the alpha female. Now, dudes are intimidated by that. They're intimidated by an independent woman. They're intimidated by a woman's opinion and her voice. They're intimidated by, hey, look, I just need you for companionship. I can buy this and I can buy that. See, there's always a flip side to that coin. I do think that an alpha female and an alpha male will always work. It's like the lion and lioness in the jungle. She's standing right behind him. He got her back, she got his. Now that is going to work. But I don't care what any woman says. You cannot respect the man that you just run over. You cannot respect the man who's spineless. You cannot respect the man something go bump in the night, he tapping you on the shoulder. See, there's a difference between that beta male and that alpha male. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and we go back and forth, we go on. But the masculinity, where has that gone? Where has that gone? We have gotten so lazy in our duties as men. We just have.
Yeah.
We've just gotten. Go ahead, B.
And when it comes to alpha and beta, people talk about it enough. But one thing people got to realize is alphas are very few. There's not many of those guys, because you're not going to have two alphas in the room. I mean, it's an unstoppable force, meeting an immovable object. Those two are
Mm-hmm.
going to do like this, and
Right.
who's ever the victor after that, that's the alpha after that. That's how that
Right.
works. But masculinity and being a masculine male is for every male. No matter whether you passive aggressive, you soft, you weak, you hunched over, it
Right.
doesn't matter. You being masculine and you standing up and being a man and speaking your truth and your voice, every man can adopt that. I don't care what his social standing is. You could be a homeless dude and you say, hey, this little square patch of dirt right here, this mine, don't come over here.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Everybody can be a masculine man, but they seeing where what we call simping is at an all-time high. Simping is at an all-time high, man. That's just what it is. And I think the root cause of this lack of masculinity has led into what we have today, is removing fathers from the home. Once you
Right.
remove fathers from the home, boys lose the main teachers, or who want to teach them how to be men. It wouldn't have affected us as much. It still would have been a detriment to us, but if more men were in the education system, then we wouldn't be at such a detriment. But I think like it's like 94, 90 some percent is women in the education system. And
Right.
without what's hold on, what's she talking about? Really?
Who's
What are you talking about?
oh
Brooks.
oh
Uh-oh, Hooks Brooks on here.
that's Robin talking trash
Yeah,
already, huh?
yeah. She
Really?
talking
Okay.
trash already. Yeah. But having more men and more education, because I was just thinking about this earlier. I said if boys were able to study under men more often, we wouldn't have such a big problem, even if dads weren't in the home. Because even if dads are in the home, aren't in the home, if you have a young man who can study under men, watches every move, watches see what he does, basically like they had with like what basically will be a internship today. Like you got a
Mm,
guy who's an inspiring trainer and he wants to learn the ropes and he gets to watch you and how you operate day in and day out and basically work for you and do things you tell him to do. I think he's going to come out better for that than to go get a certification and training and then to start out on his own with no knowledge of it or just what he's heard on YouTube and TV to how to run his
right.
business. No, you need to
Exactly.
learn at the feet of the masters.
Hmm. I agree with you 100%. Um, B, you hitting on some good stuff, man. It just takes me back to growing up with a single mother. I mean, strong, black, educated woman. Was strong. Was hard on me and my brother. Not just her. I mean, my aunt, my grandmother. I mean, just strong black women. And but one thing I have a mad respect for the women that was in my life that helped raise me. It's like, listen, they automatically said, and you can't help but respect that. I don't know nothing what it's like to be a man, not one thing. But I'm
Right.
going to be hard on you because I'm going to be hard on you because the world's going to be even harder. But when a man is not in a home, I don't care how good they raise him, and there are women out here doing some phenomenal jobs because some men now some men are at the home because they wasn't willing to step up and take the responsibility and take a job on their own. So the woman had she had no other choice but to stand up and fill that void. But that boy is on the road to be a man. He's going to have some struggles trying to figure out who he is, things he's going to struggle with, trying to find his identity. How much easier would it be if that male was, even if he wasn't even in the home, but just implanted in his life that he could pick up the phone and call and have conversations with his dad, hang out with his dad, do things with his dad. His dad is pretty much hands on, even though he's not in the house. But boys that grow up to be men, they do have those struggles of those void of that man not being in the house. I'm to be perfectly honest with you, I struggled. I struggled in relationships. I struggled trying to find my place. And I was raised a certain way, but when I was in my 20s, I really didn't know how to communicate with a female. I mean, I knew how to communicate to a certain point to to hey, what's your name, stuff like that, whatever. But when it came down to real dialogue, understanding her needs, her wants, let's just listening to her voice. When things were wrong, instead of running away from them, I could have sat there and listened to get a better understanding with her, and pretty much that relationship would have worked out. Sometimes things don't work out because we don't. Again, it goes back. We're not communicating with each other. But when a male, when the masculinity of the male, he can be masculine, but he still can communicate with the woman. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you
Yep.
got to, and I've said it plenty of times before. Women got to take judgments out of it. Men got to take judgments out of it, and we got to come together. And she's got to respect his strength, respect his masculinity. But on the flip side, he's got to respect her and understand her feminine side too, as well. But we have to quit competing with each other. I don't know why we trying to one up each other. You know, and what's so wrong with acknowledging this is how God ordained things. He made
Man.
this for a reason. He
Yeah.
took a rib. He took a rib from that dude while he was sleeping, and he made you to be not beneath him, not behind him, but alongside of him, where there ain't no competition. It's team us. We didn't got
Yeah.
away from that. See, We can. It's men and women are too busy competing with each other. Ain't no listening. There's no listening. No, they over talking to each other. They over talking to man. The man's over talking to woman. It's like the communication and the ability to comprehend, so we can have the perfect conversation, is out the door. So we got to find our way back. But if he is, and he beads, this is a perfect topic about this masculinity thing. That masculinity thing is also an acknowledgement for you to get her to understand where you coming from. But we can't have condescending conversations.
Right.
See, when you talking down to that woman, and you can't, with, if we're into our masculinity, we can't talk to our woman like she's stupid. We can't talk to her like she's beneath us. We can't talk to her like she's some little girl. And then you got to be masculine enough to recognize and hear her voice, to understand her opinion. She does have a voice in a relationship. Look, dude, this ain't no caveman thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Your woman, the, Michelle Obama said it best. Behind every successful man, there's a great, strong woman. But I guarantee you, you ever think that Barack didn't listen to Michelle? She had the
Right.
voice of women. Women have an amazing voice of reason.
Yeah.
They can sense things and put us on track of things we ain't, but we got to be open up to that. We can't be too, we can be masculine, but when you masculine and you're secure and solidified in your position, you value your woman's voice and her opinion. But
Yes.
stop relinquishing your power. I've had so many women say, you know what, Shawn, I'm tired of taking the lead all the time. And just because women take the lead, do you think they want to take the lead all the time? Do you think they
Nope.
want to be the leader in a relationship? How many men
Mm-mm.
are asking the women that? I'll let you take it from there, bro.
Oh, dude. So like just like what you said, so you had a few. Nesco say Shawn is going to keep it 100. That's why I call him Hammer. All the Hammer does is beat what you need in you or out you. Mhm.
My dude, Ness.
He say no
Love you,
fathers in
dude.
the
Love you,
home.
Ness.
No fathers in the homes where it starts. It makes the learning curve to manhood a bigger struggle. Yes, it does. That's why I'm about to bring that up, Ness. Mom
Yeah,
said
that's
true.
good.
It said
That's
you
good.
can't stomp on the rose and cultivate it at the same time. Yeah, Ness.
Woo!
You can't, man. Thank you for that one, Nesco.
Wow, thank you, Ness.
Um,
That was awesome.
the competition is just stupid at this point, man. It's gotten to the gender war has gotten out of hand. I mean, we're basically arguing about who's winning the struggle Olympics at this point, man. Like, no, I suffer more. No, I suffer more. And all it does is come from a victim mentality. I mean, I hate the victim mentality. That's why, I get so hard on the WNBA and especially those like the women's sports who want equal pay, and they coming from a victim mentality. They're not coming from a powerful place, because when you play the victim, you relinquish power into other people's hands, because you're saying that, hey, I'm not in control of what's going on, so I have no power. And I don't think they understand how weak that position truly is. It may get
Right,
you so far in the beginning, but ultimately people will just pity you, and then they will move on to other things, because human nature is self-preservation. So it's hard to care about things that don't affect you. That's why being a
mm,
victim is a fruitless venture.
wow, wow.
But also, when it comes to your significant other, your partner, your woman, or whoever you deal with, are people who live alternative lifestyles. When it comes to your partner, um, empowering your partner and giving them guidance is key, because especially if you have children together, you have to make sure that she is strong in case anything happens to you. That's
Right,
that's what that's about, because she protects the children. You are tasked with protecting the family, but she protects the children. So if anything happens to you, she needs to be able to continue on without you. And that's
right,
where building them up comes in. That's where not talking down to them comes in. That's what Nesco said. You can't stomp on the rose and cultivate it at the same time. You cannot do those things. And so when you do those things, then now she's not listening, you're not listening to her, and now that's what's going on right now in just Black community alone, is that it's a whole lot of talking, but it's not a lot of action. Everybody wants to start a dialogue, but nobody wants to put in the work, because We're lazy. We don't really care. All the fake outrage, and they say, "Oh well, we're behind in this, or we're doing that." Our black boys are reading at a fourth grade level. Teen boys are deleting themselves to keep it light 3 times higher than girls are right now. But it's not being talked
Right.
about because people, frankly, don't care. That's why I hate the fake outrage because people really don't care, man. They don't.
No,
They don't. They
they
never
don't.
have, never will. Only thing they care about is the purpose that serves them. But even with all that said, and that sounds cold. I know, I understand. That's ice cold right there. That's some strong pimping. That's ice cold right there. I got it. But it's the truth though. It's the truth.
Yeah. And B, the truth, it's always it's like I say in my videos, man. Anybody that follows me, there's like that truth is gonna sting. And I'm gonna say this. See, from anybody who's known me, and your mom's known me a long time, she's seen my growing pain. So I tell people all the time, I'm no relationship expert, no guru, none of that. I have failed at things in my life, relationship with women, communication with women, the whole nine. Whatever you think, yeah, I done that. But here's the thing: you have to be transparent, man. We have to when we're see. And this is the part. This is the hard part about that masculinity. See, another key ingredient about your masculinity is admitting your shortcomings. Admitting things that you have a problem with. But some men don't want to admit those things. And see, this was my immature thinking when I was young. If I tell her this and that, she's gonna think I'm weak.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a real woman is going to appreciate that and not see that as weak. Is she's gonna look at that? I'm talking. I'm not. There's a difference between little boys and men, and there's a difference between little girls and women. Okay, just because a lot of us are, there are a lot of women out there with the little girl mentality. There's a lot of men out there with little boy mentalities. A real woman is going to look at a man who is coming to her, conveying and just pouring out everything about his shortcomings because he trusts her. His attitude is like, I'm gonna give her this information because her attitude towards me, she wants the information so she can love me right, so she can love me better, and vice versa. Me, when I was in my 20s, I was like, if I tell this woman that, she gonna look at me as weak. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
men, we think like that. Listen, brother, if you are solidified in your position as an alpha male, that's just a part of it. And that's your lioness. That woman who's got your back standing right beside you, she ain't gonna depict you as weak. And I hear a lot of brothers saying this and a lot of brothers saying that on TikTok and Instagram or whatever. I'm like, they are so misinformed on what that dynamics of being an alpha male is. Yeah, you got that strong side about you, but you also got that other side that gives you balance. That's your vulnerability only supposed to be shown to that woman that you're with, because she's really going to understand that, and she's going to protect that, but she's not going to use that against you. A little girl will
Mm-hmm.
use that against you, but a real woman
Yep.
will never use your vulnerability as a man, confide in her. I mean, just pouring your heart out to the things that you struggle with. She's going to use that and be like, you know what, sweetheart, we going to capitalize off this. I got your back. I'm not judging you. It took strength. It takes strength to admit your weaknesses. And I don't see society. I tell people all the time, never follow society. I do the opposite of society every day. I pride myself on not following society on purpose. Society has things so backwards, and they got people brainwashed, especially these women. It got women brainwashed on so many different things. And what they're doing, they're losing the battle of their men. They're losing the battle of, look, he want to love you. He wants to love you. But here's the thing. And B, I told you, man, hey, I'm going to give it to you straight. We can't both, they can't be two lions. Here's the house is the jungle. You can't have two lions in that jungle, man.
Nope.
You can't do that. B, you touched on it. B, you said they can't be two alphas. One is
Yeah.
going to fight to the death until one is like, okay, this one wins and this one is the supreme alpha. So if that's the case, B, what you said, if that's the case, how you think that's going to end up with a woman trying to be an alpha and a male trying to be an alpha? She trying to be the lion and he trying to be a lion. How you think that's going to work? How do you think that's going to end up?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shoot, remember I was training that other day, and you brought up the line that we brought the line in the jungle, and the young lady was like, well, the female lions do most of the hunting and they go out, and the males just
Right,
lay
right,
around,
right. I
they don't
remember that.
do much and blah blah blah. And I said, yeah, females will do majority of the hunting, but when it comes time to take down a big prey, when it comes down to take down a water buffalo, take down a giraffe, takes down an elephant, take down something big, the males have to do it because the females can't. They could be 10 strong and they still can't do it. Male got to show up and he got to do it, and that's the difference. And you're right, it's so much conditioning, man. The masculinity not only removing dads from the home, but the conditioning that we've gotten over just decades and decades of putting images into your brain. I mean, really think about this for a second. The average man in a sitcom, on a show, or anything like that, what is he depicted as? He's depicted as an oaf, a
Mm-hmm.
bumbling idiot that doesn't know much, a
Mm-hmm.
pushover, weak, kind of a drone. Oh yeah, yes, always saying something
Right,
stupid or funny or something like that. What do they depict
right,
the women as? Strong, smart. She's
right,
every woman, boss
right,
lady. That's what they depict her as. But it's been that way for a while. It's been uplift the woman and diminish the man. But men have helped in this venture. This is not because women just decided, hey, we're going down the men. No, men have went this way. And what they've done, they've completely moved out of the way and let them have their way. And then now, as a man, when you say, "Hey, you can't have your way over here," there will be no one-way aggression tolerated over here. We're
right,
going to go back and forth, or we're going to have a problem. But today, most men, I would say, most men are taking the approach of, "I'm not going to argue with you. I'm gone," and they dip,
right,
and
right,
that's the end of it. And some might say that that's weak, or you should stay and try to work it out. But because of the law, way the laws are today, the way society is today, it doesn't serve you to go back and forth with the woman today. It makes no sense to do so, because you're going to be in a lose-lose situation anyway. Because at any given time, she can say, cry victim, oh, the man, he's come get him, he's being this, he's being that, and she can get emotional, and boom, it's over with. They've done studies on this. You had a couple out arguing and fighting, and it's a crowded area, and she's berating him, talking trash to him. People just look and they gawk and they stare. They say not a word at all. But they flipped it. He got in her face. He grabbed her. He jerked her around. Dude, people
right,
breaking it up. They ready to fight him. One dude coming in, pushed him down on the ground. Now everybody want to say something. But these are the same people who just saw her going off on him, putting hands on him, slapping him in the face, spit on him, didn't say a word. But as soon as you show little, I'm talking about this much masculinity, I'm this much,
mm-hmm.
this much, everybody want to come and put it out with a fire extinguisher, men
Right.
and women. That's one of our biggest issues as well.
That's a
See,
huge wow, baby. You killed that, man. But
See,
that
a really big
what else?
problem, really big problem is most men don't know how to adequately communicate with their mate and are unwilling to learn how to do so, but want to be the head of the house. But life is funny, because when the head gets sick, he turns to the woman he doesn't want to understand. Oh,
Boy,
oh,
boy, Nets is
oh.
preaching, man.
Hey, Ness, what's the
Wow.
what's the song? I can't think of the name of the song, but she say, ain't it funny how life goes around? The same woman you mistreating is your everything now. Oh,
Mm,
yeah. They don't want to get into that right there.
mm,
He say this,
mm.
this is why the Cosby Show was such an influence, because it showed a balanced, successful African American couple with great core family atmosphere. Yeah, yeah, it did.
Yeah,
And
it
I
did.
will say this real quick, Shawn,
Yeah,
about being a young man and coming up in the times that I came up in. I realized that, you know, the thing with masculinity is, as a male, you're going to seek it out. You're going to crave it. You're going to crave it just like little kids crave sugar.
right,
You want to crave that. You crave that, and that's boys and girls, but especially boys, because it's an innate thing in you to seek out. Who am I? What am I? What is my purpose? Why am I here, and how do I go about this thing? And you look for
right,
those who may be the greatest examples of masculinity in your life. And masculinity comes in many forms. You know, it comes from it comes from a lot of different places, not just, you know, say a preacher, doctor, lawyer. Sometimes it comes from gang leaders. Sometimes it
Right.
comes from drug dealers, guys who are influential in your life. They represent masculinity in your life, regardless of what they do. So, and that I believe that, because think about this too. Why do you think boys, especially our young boys, gravitate towards gangs so much? They gravitate towards gangs, and I equate it to also as organized sports. They gravitate towards those things because you instinctually want to be a part of something bigger than yourself. You want to look for that family unit. You want to look for that direction. You want to look for something where we come together and we do something to achieve a goal together. Those things are in us, and that's why I think boys gravitate towards gangs, because if you don't have family, if you don't have direction, you don't have dad, you don't have those things, you see a group of men who, yeah, they're not doing the best things. They don't have the best set of core values, but you see these men and they embrace you and bring you in like family, and you follow them. And I think that's what a lot of boys, when you lack direction, you're going to seek out masculinity in whatever form it is.
Right, right. And they see also that those men, even in that dynamics, as far as the game, is one cohesive unit.
Yeah.
So what young man wouldn't want to be belong to something like, be growing up, you want to gravitate towards sports. That's what the boys are doing. That's what the dudes are doing. You want to be a part of something that, just like you said, B, is like, is bigger than yourself, man. So I created another group, and B, I was touching on it before we went live, but it was about 50 and over, and I want to expand it not only to that. I've been torn with it. I said, man, I need to make this open to pretty much all men. Why
Hmm.
keep it to just a certain genre? Because and as of lately, I'm like, man, we need to support each other, because the group of men that I got in my personal group that I got alongside of the For Imperfect Non-Judgmental People Only group, it's like, man, us men we need to uplift us more, because society don't care nothing about the man. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, B. Society
Yeah.
don't care nothing about the men. They
Yeah.
don't.
None
They
about
can say it does. No, it does not. It's not catering towards us. So what we have to do as men, we have to lift each other up. We have to get in arms together and be like, you know what? We're going to show our masculinity. We're going to step up in our alpha, and we're going to be refusing all this nonsense going on. Because I look at it like this: if I'm standing on what the big man said upstairs, I know I'm dead on right. I know I'm dead on right, and that's why I tell men, remember who my mom told me a couple months before she passed away. She said, "Remember who you are." And I said, "Mom, you've been on that for months." She's like, "Remember who you are as a man. Remember who you are as a man. Don't you relinquish your power to this world and what they trying to do. You see all this craziness going on here? They trying to take
hmm
away y'all voice. They trying to take away y'all power. They trying to take away they trying to really dismiss the alpha. If you take a study and just sit back and you look at the role. I was talking to somebody like to this today about the difference between the male role 25 years ago opposed to where it is right now.
Yeah.
And man, we got to lose this watered down, weak narrative that they're placing above us. And I refuse. And I said it once, I said it again. If you are a real alpha male will refuse to be moved out of his position. You're gonna have to kill me to take my alpha position. I don't care who you are. You gonna respect that position? Because I'm gonna say what I got to say, and I'm gonna keep it transparent. But I'm not as I'm keeping it transparent. I'm not gonna be disrespectful to you. I'm not going to disrespect a woman. I can let you know without raising my voice, cursing you out, and all those things. My masculinity, my position as the alpha male, and let you know this is how it's going to be. You want me to take the lead? You got to listen to my voice.
Yeah.
How you want me to take the lead, and you're not even listening to what I'm saying. You're not even adhering or comprehending for us to even have that right conversation. If we're not listening to each other, how can we have forward progression?
Right. Right. You're
You know?
absolutely right. Um, we talked about solutions and how we can um, help, because the ones who are at the most detriment right now, I talked to you about it. The ones who are at the greatest detriment is the boys. The boys
Right.
are suffering the most. They said that the testosterone levels in boys are so low that 60-year-old men 30, 40 years ago have more testosterone than teenagers today. And
Wow.
it could be a bunch of different reasons for that. One, people point
Right.
to the things we consume, things that we're eating. People talk about pollution.
Right.
People talk about medication, um, different things like that. Boys being overly diagnosed with ADHD when some of them probably didn't have ADHD, because some boys learn differently. I found that out as a man, that as you've grown up, is I realized I learned differently. Boys learn differently. We're more visual and we're more hands-on learners. As they say right
Right.
now, the studies back that up. Boys right now are struggling sitting at home looking at a computer, while the kids can't be in school right now. They're struggling with that. The girls can
Right.
do it because they can sit still and they can focus on that one thing right there. But
Right.
boys, you're all over the place, and you learn differently. And when you don't cater to how the way boys learn, they lose interest. Like, I told my mom before, like, school just does not interest me. Never has, probably never will. The only thing about school that interests me is me assisting those who are in school, or maybe teaching those who are in school. But as far as school for myself, it didn't serve me. I didn't like the way it was set up, and I had minimal interest in it. So I was a C student for majority of high school, and then college was in and out, in and out. And now I'm just like, it doesn't serve me, because one thing I noticed is that when it comes to school and the way it's being taught, and why you have 65% of women on college campuses, and men in mass have left college in the last 20 to 30 years, and they're foregoing this school debt, they're foregoing these meaningless pieces of paper, because really, if you're not going there for the top earning jobs in college, why are you going into thousands and thousands of dollars of debt to go be a teacher, to go be a somebody in political science, to go
Right.
into all of those things? Now, if you could do it without going into debt, that's cool. But once you go into debt, how are you gonna pay that debt back? You're gonna be paying that debt for a long, long time. That's why they're so big about
Right.
student loan debt. Men have started to understand that. When one thing about it, even though we have a masculinity crisis, men learn and are very, very smart.
Right.
I've been told, I thought for a long time that women were smart and men were dumb, and that's just how it came off. That's what I saw on TV as a youth. That's what I heard in music. That's what I saw in movies. That's what I hear people say and people talk about. They dumb us down to the worst of us and judge us off the worst of us. So I always thought the worst of men growing up, and then I came up, like you
Right.
say, around nothing but women, and they contributed to that in their own way. But then as I got older, I realized that, wait a minute, it's trash on both
Mm-hmm.
sides. It ain't just us, it's them too. So if we lead the league in trash, they number two on the list. I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking, and that's where men lose. That's where you men lose in their masculinity, because you think that in order to get next to her, in order to be with her, you got to put her up on this perch. You got to put her up there on that pedestal. But not realizing that that's probably at your greatest detriment, because it's an old saying. They say if you treat her like a celebrity, she'll treat you like a fan.
Oh, oh man. Wow. Why is that so true though?
Yeah,
Why is that so true?
because all
Man,
men
we
have
gotta
done
get
it. All men have done it. For we all have
right.
simped and fallen short to the glory of Pimp C.
Boy, out of control right now. Boy, you something else. But what you I can't even debate what you're saying, because it's so profoundly true, man. I mean, it is, man. But why is it? I don't
Uh,
understand that. But man, as I'm thinking about as you talking, I'm like, man, that's so true. That is so
oh,
true. I don't. And I'm like, we got to get back to, man. not only the masculinity part, but man, we just got to find balance, man. We got to find
Yeah, we
balance. And
do.
there's no balance right now.
No.
It's topsy turvy. It's like
Yeah.
this is the balance, and we got to get it back to where it's it's even,
Yeah.
And how do how do we get back to that?
And I think the way we get back to that, Shawn, is and this is where the solutions come in. The getting fathers back in the home is almost that's tough to do because divorce is incentivized. So even if you do it
Right,
the right way, it's a coin flip whether you're going to make it or not.
right.
Also,
Hmm.
you got parental alienation. You got those who because women know men love their children. This is
Right,
go call it what it is. Women know that men love their children. You have those that
right,
men are deadbeats, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about the men who want to be in their children's lives, and they
right,
use those kids as a prop against them, and they diminish the father's role in those children's lives. So if we can, the best way to I think combat that is men. It comes back to us having to properly vet. Men rarely vet women for anything long term because we're so visual and we get caught up in the talk and the switch and the dance and the move, the fragrance, where hair looks. You get caught up in those things, not realizing that this person has shown you many, many, many red flags, and you skipped over them because you got those rose colored glasses on. It's one of my favorite cartoons. It's called BoJack Horseman, and the main character, he's talking to a girlfriend at the time, and she said, when it comes to someone having red flags, he said, when you're wearing rose colored glasses, all the flags just look like flags. They don't look like red flags. And I say, man, that's huge right there because you see them in just such this certain light. But when you want to balance the scales, it's masculinity and femininity. They both have to be equal. And so, what
right.
society has taught women to do is to discard their femininity and go out here and be like men. And when you do that, they become very masculine. I mean, just look at the black community. Our women are masculine because they've taken on the role of men. We are in the matriarchy. It is what it is. Um,
Right.
but not knowing, and they took to it like a fish to water, because empowerment and wanting to be on your own and want to be independent and don't want to have no man telling you what to do and all of that. I got all that. That's cool.
Hmm.
But femininity is your greatest superpower as a woman. I
The
mean, when you
greatest.
compete,
The
I
greatest.
mean, when you compete with men, the way you can equally compete with a man is with your femininity. When you
Yeah.
compete with your femininity, yeah, I mean, it's two sides to the same coin. It's two sides to the
Right.
same coin because masculinity can never beat femininity. Femininity can never beat masculinity. Those are two
Never.
things that always are going to coexist. It's light and dark. It's yin and yang. You have to have those two things. But now the men have lost their masculinity and women have gained masculinity, and that's
So they
by
got both now.
design, Shawn. Yeah.
And that now they got both. It's a perfect example of that. B. Let's say my woman come to me. Okay, she come to me and see. Golly, man, boy, she come to me as sweet as pie. As
Hmm.
sweet as pie. I got my masculinity, my apple stay on it stay on go 24/7. It stay there. But she come to me in such a sweet way, probably can get anything out of me. But that feminine side of her, that's the power.
Yeah.
But imagine she coming at me like some dude. I'm like that. I don't need an alpha would never even respond to a woman coming at him at masculine way. He'd be looking at her like she crazy. I know for
Yeah.
me, I'm like, I know I'm looking at you. I'm like, I don't know who you talking to, but you definitely ain't talking to me. We could try
Right.
this over again. Let's have a do-over. Because if you think I'm gonna respond to that masculine side, I'm like, here's the thing. Alpha man got even a problem with another alpha male trying him. So what makes you think if I got a problem with a dude trying me, that you a female and you gonna come and try to talk to me like you a dude and I'm the woman? No, that's not how that works. That's
Right.
not how that works. And see, we have to. we have gotten away from the order in which the big man upstairs made it to be. And here's the thing: he had it laid out right. We messing it up.
Yeah.
We and society is screwing it all up. Until we got the things got to get back in alignment, B. And until they get back into alignment, B, it's gonna be the same exact way, bro. It just is,
Yep.
man. Things are so out of order right now. And I've been pondering and thinking. I'm like, when did this go sideways? When did it start? I'm trying to figure out, I'm really doing trying to figure out a study. When did it start? When did it get like this? I mean, when did it start and how do we end up here?
Well, I think the biggest thing you could point to is feminism. And so when you have that, which first wave, it's in its purest form, is a great thing, because there were a lot of things that weren't afforded to women. You know, I didn't know that they couldn't have bank accounts, they couldn't buy houses. You couldn't even work a job. Like, you couldn't do
Right,
things without a man being present. So I understood those things, you know, because when
right,
you have it set up like that, men, our lifetimes are finite. You know, we pass on, we move on, we die, and we leave.
right,
You know, so leaving a woman destitute, you know, she got kids to take care of, and dad and went to the grocery store to get some cigarettes. He never came back. Those things happen. You know, he moved 11 miles away and started a whole new family. Those things happen. Yes, we know this.
right,
So feminism was a good thing by empowering women and helping them get things on their own. But now we're in third and going into fourth wave. And now it's no longer about equality. It's about superiority now. You know, now that they
mhm,
have the money and now they're able to work and get the money. Like I told you, women have 83% of the spending power in this country. So $83 on every $100 bill is spent by women. And so now that you have the
right,
money, money's no object now. Money's never been an object. Now what it is you seek is power. And when you seek power, you have to get power. You don't, they're not taking power. Power is being given to them. Power is being ceded to them, because all
mhm,
it's been is we've been oppressed for so long. We've been doing this. This has happened. This has happened. And that has happened. So you need to diminish yourself so we can uplift ourselves. And they don't know
mhm,
that going about it that way, you don't have to do it that way. You don't have to do it. Both can coexist. Both can, you know, we can go forward and live this life as a partnership. And then
right,
besides that, this is the other part of it. Now we have a deregulated dating marketplace now. And now with the marketplace the way it is, with social media connecting the world, and you know, everybody having access to anybody they want to in the world. Because before, you know, you just
mhm,
had the people that was in your town, or even if
right,
you moved, there was those people in that general area. Now you got
mhm,
access to people on the other side of the world. So
right,
now with that, women want the ultimate choice. Dads no longer choose the mates. So now that you have ultimate choice, you want to be who you want to be with. Now feminism preach to them that, okay, forego marriage, forego children, and just, or what you do is you get into your go to college, you get your career, you make your money, and then once you're ready to settle down, late 20s, early 30s, there'll be somebody there for you. A lot of women, like I'm 32, a lot of women are finding out around my age that was false, because the men that they looking for are looking at the 22-year-olds, not the 32-year-olds. That's just life. That's what it is. We can't change men. That's how it's always going to be. It is what it is.
right,
But so
mm,
now they've put a system in place in the dating to where it basically dumbs women down to their youth. So now once you age out of your youth, now you become what, as they say, leftover women. And I heard this term a long time ago, and this leftover women comes from China.
oh,
China, you think it's bad here in the way they are ageist against women? Dude, once you hit 25 in China, they call it's called Shang Yu. It's called a leftover woman. They say back in the day, they say you were 25, 27, 25, 26, 27, 28, and on, and you were without a husband. They call them old maids. They call them spinsters. Now it's prideful. Now it's like, oh, I'm single. I don't need them, man. I'll do this. I'll do that. And they made it to where um it they made it to where they want you to accept those, no matter where they are, accept them at their worst, when they only want the best of us. So you see,
Right.
women only want the best of us, but they want us to take anything that we can get. We can't have standards. And men collectively, and men, that's one thing about it. Men haven't really talked about the standards and what we like and what we don't like. We've just simply dated the way we wanted to. Hey, I'm not talking
Pretty
about
much.
having to deal with women that I don't like. I just go where the women I like are. I just go where they are.
Right. Right. Boy, whew, you know what, B? You touched on something that my mom has always talked about. And I didn't, I, for some, it's so crazy, man. When you're younger, you just can't, you don't grasp the concept of things till later. I mean, some of us men are built that way. I know I am. So I didn't grasp that concept until later, and how she used to always tell me, and I'm gonna say it like this. She said, I'm gonna tell you something. The older you get, you take care of yourself, you're gonna have more and more options. She said, your options are never going to stop. Just keep taking care of yourself. Watch as old as you got, your options are never going to stop. She said, but with us, as we get older, oh, them options, they're gonna become minimal, more minimal, more minimal. And she said, God forbid if we let ourselves slide, they become minuscule at that point. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if we gonna talk about it, B, let's talk about it. And I'm all about that transparency. I ain't got no dog in nobody's fight. But is that true? Because I didn't lie too much throughout my life. I'm like, I said, no, the lies stop. Because B, me and you done talked about it. Tell the truth. They mad. You lie. They mad. You can't make nobody happy. But that's the truth. Now, when I heard my mom say that, I was like, what? Are you serious? And
Mm-hmm.
then as I got older and I kept seeing it and I kept seeing it and I kept seeing it, I kept seeing it, I'm like, oh my God, man, this woman ever been wrong about anything? It's so true. Me and you talked about that. I can't remember that exact thing that you said.
Mm-hmm.
But when you said it, I was like, get out of here. He was like, Shawn, it's true. But as you kept talking, I was like, he's like, Shawn, how old are you? Look at it,
Oh,
bro.
talking
What
about
was that?
the dating. Talking about the dating app. I talked about the dating apps. I talked about dating apps and the average
that,
age. So
hey, man, look at here. I say, boy,
so
between B and my mama, I was like, oh man. And she said that years ago.
mm-hmm.
She said that years ago when you was a kid. She was telling me that, and I was like, how
Yeah.
could something way back then come to the forefront and be just as real as when she told it to me? I was
Yep.
like, so that's. She's like, I'm telling you, Shawn, we think. She said, I'm letting you know, I'm a woman, and that's what I loved about it because she let me know exactly how females are. She said, I'm a woman. She said, baby, what I got in my 20s and what I got in my 40s and 50s, baby, it's not the same. It's different. It's
Yeah.
different. The options. If she said, I hate to say it, but that's just how it is.
Well,
But
and
nobody wants to
it
talk about that or admit that.
right. And the reason your mom understood this so long ago, I remember I was talking to my uncle and we talked about this. And I told him, I said, you know what I realized? I say time is on the loop because all we do is keep repeating the same things over and over and over and over again. And so now that you
Exactly.
know that time is on the loop, what it does is the older you are, the more you grow, the more you learn, the more wisdom you gain over the years, and you see things. All you do is see the same things repeat itself. And that's how people,
Right.
that's practice. That's how you get better at things. That's practice. So your
Right.
mom
Right.
saw it in men and in women, year after year after year on her time on this earth. She saw it happen, and she saw where, like I told you, so they did a study on all the dating apps, Match.com, OkCupid, all those things, and they said the average age, the woman who gets the most swipes on dating apps is 18 years old. She gets more swipe rights than anybody else. She sought after more than anybody else on the market. On the men's
Right.
side, most men think, oh, what is it, 25 for guys? Some guys thought 30. Some guys are like, okay, maybe it's 35. It's 50. 50 years old. A 50-year-old man gets more swipes than any other man
That's
because
crazy, man.
we look at that, we date differently. We always have, always will. That's the sign of the times. Men look for youth, beauty, and fertility. Women look for wealth, status, resources, and power. Those are the things we seek. Those are the things that we crave. And it's always going to be that way. No amount of shaming, no amount of language, no amount of any of those things is going to change men and women from their hard wiring. Women seek shelter, men seek power. That's just what it is.
Unbelievable, man. Wow. Wow. I mean, I didn't want to believe it. I just didn't want to believe that's how it was until I started seeing it and seeing it. But when we brought the numbers, I was like, wow. And then I was like, well, and then just thinking, I was like, well, he's right. And I started thinking about how many single people on men and women's side that I know, and how many people are literally by themselves, and how many people are are with somebody, and their ages. And I said, boy, you can't argue with facts.
Yeah.
And intelligence never argues with the facts. Intelligence never argues with facts, and those are the facts, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, this was excellent, man. We done did an hour already, and it felt like we were talking about 10 minutes.
I know, man. I want to keep talking, but I got clients gonna be rolling in a minute, man.
I know.
We got big. You gotta have me on this. You gotta have me on this show a little bit often, bro. We gotta have it on.
Oh yeah.
When I get a chance, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We gotta do this again, man. This was awesome.
Yeah.
I know your mom. I know your mom got. I can't wait to see her today. She better not give me no excuse that she ain't coming in either.
Yeah.
Rob, I'm talking about. Man. Yeah, we gotta do this. This is awesome, man.
Yeah, we definitely gonna have more of this, man. I think one of the other things we talked about that we probably gonna go into, so we'll have something set up for the next show, is probably going into dating, man. Just dating, period, and how lopsided the game is now in dating. And we're gonna stomp some toes. We stomp some toes today. We're gonna stomp some toes with that one.
Hey, that segment, that's gonna be something else.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate you, man. Love you, dude. Appreciate you, man. Humble, man. Humble. Thank you, man.
Look, hey, Ma say whatever, Shawn.
What she said?
She said whatever, Shawn.
Light skin, boy. I'm gonna get it when you come in. I already know it. All right, big man. Right, I gotta go torture some people, man. Huh?
All right, man. Appreciate you for checking me out, man.
Hey, man. Nothing but love, bro. I appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. This is awesome thing, man.
All right, man. Thank you, sir. Hey, remember, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Tune in to me. I got more stuff coming your way, but I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Bye. Peace.